Good morning, guys. Happy Monday. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Hallelujah. 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 Hey, it's a great day. Today, I just wanted to just kind of follow up on a video I did yesterday about the child sex abuse crisis that's happening in the SSPX organization. I forgot a few points. I actually put them in some notes. I shoot from the hip, but I like to have some notes by so I don't forget when but I had so much information I had to convey that somehow I looked at the notes, but I didn't see them. I don't know if my writing's too sloppy or what, but long story short, there were 3 points that I really did want to make, and sure enough, people commented. I knew there was going to be comment about it or objections to it, so I'm just going to go over them real quick, but first I want to ask you guys to please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. It seems whenever I post anything political, I'll have a bunch of people unsubscribe. And I just want to say, if you disagree with what I'm saying politically, just write in the comments, I could be wrong, so please explain to me why you think I'm wrong. I think I'm right. That's why I post what I post, but, I'm all about dialogue. I was actually just talking to someone this past weekend who said, oh, he don't like to talk politics or religion with people because you can't change their mind. And I was like, brother, that's wrong. I've been changing people's political views my whole life, and I've been changing people's religious views my whole life. You could do it, just got to be polite and persuasive. So maybe you could change my views, I basically, commented that in a nutshell, all the comments together, basically what I was saying was, if Hamas did to the United States what they did to Israel on October 7th, Gaza and Iran would be parking lots today. And no American would be complaining about it. That's a fact, And so people had a problem with that, And, because I said we should support Israel and do that for them because they were our strongest ally in our 20-year war on terror. So anyway, I know a lot of people disagree with that. That's fine. Just put in the comments. I won't delete your comments. The only comments I delete are blasphemous. I mean, if you're going to blaspheme my Lord, I'm not going to leave it up. Or if you're going to be like perverted and filthy or say something really nasty about someone I love, I'll take it down. But, you disagree with me politically or religiously, I leave them up. So please don't unsubscribe. Just post it. I mean, even I had 3 live videos when I started out this channel, and 2 of them was Timothy Gordon. We disagree. I mean, if you don't know that, then you haven't been watching me or you haven't been watching him. We disagree. We couldn't be as far as the North is from the South on our view of Pope Francis and the what's going on in the church today. But I believe he's an honest man. He says what he means and he means what he says. Unlike the guy that fired him, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch one of the videos. I think it was the first video we were live, and someone said, hey, how come you and Taylor Marshall aren't on together? And he said, I don't know. Only thing I can think of is, on Twitter, I disagreed with him about the status of the SSPX, and he blocked me on Twitter. He blocked my phone number. He blocked me on all social media. And when my, daughter was, having brain surgery and her life was in jeopardy, I just called him to pray, and he blocked my phone calls. I never returned my phone calls. So it's obvious Taylor Marshall is beholden to the money of SSPX. In my last video, I told you how they are very wealthy and they have, influencers. And, Taylor Marshall is the most popular Catholic YouTuber, according to Taylor Marshall. He probably is. But, that's what he always says. He's the most popular Catholic YouTuber. But he's not going to say nothing bad about the SSPX, because he's beholden to him. And on the other hand, like I said, Timothy Gordon, we have disagreements on the Pope and the status of the church right now, with what the church is going through. But I believe he's honest. He says what he means and he means what he says. I just disagree with what he says. But Taylor Marshall, he's going to say whatever the SPS wants him to say, in my view. But the good news, if you watch me, I'm not beholden to nobody, because like Bob Dylan said, when you ain't got nothing, you ain't got nothing to lose. I got nothing to lose. So I'm going to tell you like I see it. So getting back to the SSPX, one point I wanted to make, a lot of people are like, it's so weird because, you know, they brag about how conservative and how holy they are. And to me, that's a red flag. I mean, I learned early on, I was like 19 in the Navy, and we were all shocked that the captain of the base got a DUI. And one of my officers told me, no, you know, usually people that are strict on certain things, like if they're, you know, because he was very strict on people getting caught drinking. Like he always gave the maximum punishment for anybody that got, you know, disorderly conduct or drinking and driving. He said, we have zero tolerance for alcohol abuse on this space. And he had a drinking problem. And my officer that I had, my lieutenant, said, yeah, usually people that have a weakness or something they're covering up, the way they cover it up is by being harsh on other people with that same tendency. And I've seen that through the years, you know, 30 years as a Protestant. I've seen all these holier than thou pastors. I remember Bill Gothard. I was in an Assemblies of God church, and my pastor was like, oh, this guy Bill Gothard's awesome, you know, because we didn't believe in, none of us, even though it was Protestant, we didn't believe in birth control. And he's like, yeah, you know, they all have big families. You know, I met people with like 15 kids. You know, my friend had 11 kids, and his wife had like 8 C-sections. I was like, I don't know if that's healthy, you know, keep having these C-sections. I think you're only supposed to have a couple. But this guy, Bill Gothard, convinced them, and they talked about this guy, Bill Gothard, like he was such a holy man. And I said, and then I heard some of the stuff he was saying, and, you know, I was Bible believing, and I said, well, he's taking the Bible out of context, Pastor. He goes, I said, I don't know if I trust this guy. He goes, well, do your research. You know, everyone knows I'm like a research guy. So I did my research, but it took a few months to get everything together. And by then, this pastor was already sucked into the Bill Gothard cult. And I showed him that Bill Gothard's brother had to leave the ministry for abusing children, young girls. And I said, this guy, Bill Gothard, looks like he's dirty too. And he got so mad. He's like, this is God's anointed. I had a bunch of papers, like a stack of papers. I went to the library and photocopied everything. You know, there was no internet at the time. I had to like do it old fashioned and look through, you know, old magazines and books and photocopy everything. And he threw it all in the garbage. And sure enough, years later, Bill Gothard had to step down for abusing little girls. This holier than, you know, this guy that taught that, you know, you shouldn't even allow your children to date, you know, until they're going to get married. And then, you know, the children have to ask their father's permission to get married, and children shouldn't even hold hands until they're married. And he was abusing children. So it doesn't surprise me that these SSPX priests are the homo predator priests that they are. And, you know, and it doesn't surprise me that the homo predators are going to the SSPX because they have no accountability. You know, they're separate from the church. They're like their own little cult. So they all cover for each other. You know, they don't have the Vatican looking over their shoulder. They don't have a bishop. They're accountable to nobody. They respect no authority. This is their foundation. You know, this is who they are. So you shouldn't be surprised at that. That's number one. Number two, you always get the same thing. Oh, what about McCarrick? What about McCarrick? Pope Francis excommunicated McCarrick. I don't understand their argument. McCarrick. He excommunicated McCarrick. You know how big? You know when the last time a cardinal of the Catholic Church was excommunicated? I think it was like the 1700s. And you know, I looked over this morning. There's only like a dozen cardinals in the history of the church that have been excommunicated. A couple dozen, maybe like 2 dozen, 3 dozen, over 2,000 years. And it was usually for opposing the Pope, you know, like, joining a synod or a council that opposed the Pope, you know, like an illegal synod or council is most of the people. Can you imagine if Pope Francis excommunicated people that opposed him? There'd be a lot of Catholic YouTubers looking for a real job to make a living these days if that was the case. So they said, oh, he promoted him and brought him to Rome. It's like, first of all, Pope Francis may be from Argentina, but he's Italian. There's an old Italian saying, you keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Before you excommunicate someone, you want to get to know them and make sure you're right. So I'm sure he got him closer to investigate him, and he realized this guy was a dirty, rotten scoundrel. He excommunicated him. Then you hear Rupnik, you know. So, you know, what's going on with Rupnik? Another one. It's like these people will say, the SSPX will say nothing about their priests that are raping little boys. They just ignore that. But they're so upset that this man was accused of psychologically and sexually assaulting women. But he denies it. Their predator priests have admitted they did this to little boys. Rupnik has denied it. And what happened was the Jesuit order that he was in, like, dismissed him, fired him, you know, whatever they could do in their authority. They don't have the authority to excommunicate it, but they basically said, you're gone. And then another diocese took him in because the investigation on him, I guess, reached the statute of limitations. And Pope Francis said, whoa, not so fast. And he extended the statute of limitations and opened it up again. And then a woman that worked for Rupnik came and talked to Pope Francis and said, these are just false allegations. They don't like him, you know, because he's a tough boss or whatever. So there's an investigation going on. So so Rupnik. It's just like a, three-card Monte, what I told you about, crisis. We have a bad pope when they got their own crisis, because they have a real crisis going on. SSPX priests raping little boys. That's the crisis. Not Pope Francis investigating Rupnik or excommunicating McCarrick. So, yeah. So, bring it on, bring it on. Like I said, I got nothing to lose. And, they demonetized that video, I guess maybe because I had the word abuse in it, or I don't know why. But so I don't make a lot of money, but make a couple $100 a month now, maybe like 150 to 200 now. It used to be like 200 every 3 months. Now it's like 150 to 200 just on commercial, ads. But when you demonetize it, you make nothing. Usually you demonetize it when I talk about abortion. That's why, these professional YouTubers that make a lot of money don't say it. Like Taylor Marshall does his gay little cheer. The A to the B to the O to the T. And he spells out abortion like a cheerleader. Like I said, I'm going to say what I mean what I say. Abortion is a sin. And I thank God for one of the guests we had on this show, the president of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, Archbishop Broglio, who said the most important political issue for the Catholic Church today in America is abortion. And he said, Pope Francis said abortion is the gravest immortal sin. So I'm going to say abortion. And I'm going to ask you, if you're pro-life, to please go to realestateforlife.org and do business with a pro-life real estate company and have a pro-life Christian realtor who's an expert in real estate. I mean, we only hire experts, honestly. So go to realestateforlife.org. God bless and stay Catholic.